Welcome, my darlings, to another episode of the Dare to Rest podcast. My body is buzzing. I have the most amazing guest with me today. I'm going to introduce her shortly, but first I want to ask the question, what if rest wasn't about stillness? What if rest was actually a vibration? And what if your healing didn't need to be with words, but it was more like a resonance, like an inner attunement? That's what we're diving into today, this beautiful, wonderful world of sound healing. And now I'm getting goosebumps. It's not just a practice, it's more like sound healing as a portal into you, into your depth, into a way of finding peace and recalibrating your nervous system, of dissolving all the things that dim your power, and eventually the potential to really make your soul sing and bring you back home. Like, sound healing is amazing. And if you've never done it and never tried it, I highly recommend that you do. My guest today is, I didn't even ask me, Roshni, what you wanted to be called, but I think of you like as a sound alchemist, understanding the frequency of the body, of different frequencies. It's just, you have a way of leaving a human feeling like their soul is humming, their cells are humming. It's so beautiful to be in your world and witnessing the magic that you bring. So my guest today is the beautiful Roshni. She's fresh on Bali, just left UK a few days ago even. What? And what you do is you have found this beautiful way of merging sound healing and business. We're going to talk about that. I'm so happy that you're here. Come say hi.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm so excited to be here on your podcast. Yes, I'm Roshni and I am currently in Bali. I am a sound healer. I'm a wealth expansion mentor combining sound healing, energetics, business coaching to help you really connect back to what I like to call your inner gold, which is your intuition, connecting back to your heart, connecting back to who you truly are at your core. And I'm so excited to be here.
So the sound alchemist, it's actually pretty, it's pretty fitting. Okay, so I love that you and I, in many ways, have like a similar story. We just talked about it before going on to this podcast. But do you want to tell people first and foremost, where were you 5 years ago? What were you doing? Because it's not where you are now, and it's definitely not Bali.
Exactly. So, my gosh, my life before becoming a sound healer was so different. I started off my career after graduating university. I started working in banking. So, my first role was I was a portfolio manager, managing high net worth clients. All of these really wealthy people, around the globe, monitoring their portfolios and their wealth. And I was working heavy in finance. And then I decided, you know what, I want to learn a little bit more about banking regulations. And it's so different to what I do now. But I was like, this is quite interesting. Let's kind of tap into the legal side of things. So I decided to do my master's in law and finance, combining the two. And then I started to continue to work at the banks, but I focused more on the risk and compliance and legal side of things. And then there was a point where I was like, I'm getting a bit tired of the banking space. There's too much work politics, long hours. Maybe there's something else for me. And
Bureaucracy.
exactly. So much of that. And so I was like, maybe there's something else for me. And at that point, I still hadn't discovered sound healing. So I was like, maybe if I decide to switch the landscape, go into the fintech space, I decided, you know what? I'm going to be working at a couple startups and see if that's actually my niche and my place to be. And so I switched over. I was like, I'm going to go into this, smaller companies where I don't have to wear a suit anymore and I can hopefully get my own working hours. But no, got into the fintech space, long hours. And again, there was a lot of work politics happening there as well. and there was less structure. So I was like, okay, this is a little bit interesting. Okay, I have more autonomy, I can make more decisions, but actually, like, am I really happy here? And so the next thing that came to me was, okay, well, I'm in the office 24/7. What if I found a fully remote role? Maybe that's the answer to everything. That way I can have my time at home and continue to work. So I took a fully remote role at a company called Toast. They're quite big in the US. And I started to manage their full global team of risk and compliance. So I was managing different teams, international teams, and I was working both US and UK hours. And I was like, okay, I'm at home, but I still don't have this freedom that I really, really desire. Actually, I can't even get to the gym because I'm working. And so, at that time, I was getting burnt out. I was really tired. I was unhappy. And I discovered sound healing at that point. I actually went to my first sound bath with my sister. And during that experience, something completely shifted in me. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm something's happening in my body. I don't know what it is, but it feels really good. And so during that session, I remember like hearing this like clear voice saying, this is something you need to look into. Like sound healing this is not the end of sound healing for you. And so after that sound bath, I started to Google a lot of things. I was like, what is sound healing?
Yeah.
What is like, what is vibration? What is frequency? What is all of this? Because it was so new to me, but it was so, so powerful. And so the deeper I got to learning more about sound healing, what it is, the background and the origin of how old it is and how ancient it is, decided that it was at that point where I was like, you know what, I want to dive deeper. So I started to look at certifications to become a sound healer, to learn it, and to see if I can start to use sound healing in my day-to-day life. Because that sound bath that I went to, I was so, so relaxed. It's like I forgot everything that was happening. All the noise was like just kind of disappearing. And I was like, I need to experience more of this on a frequent basis. So
Hmm.
I did my certifications. I then did a certification specifically on crystal singing bowls, and that's kind of what I really, really love. And
Hmm.
I bought my first set of 7 chakra bowls. And what I started to do was after work, after those long hours, especially on the weekends, I started to really tap into the power of crystal singing bowls. I would give myself sound healing sessions. I would just kind of learn what felt good in my body, what really felt helped me to get, become calm and relaxed, and I started to do it that way. And so it's like I was tapping into this joy of something that I really, really loved while working in corporate. And it was starting to bring a bit of a balance into my life because I was like, okay, long hours, I'm tired, but you know what? I actually have something I love and I'm going to go into that after work and on the weekends. And so that's kind of like how my journey started in terms of like sound healing and like me, working in corporate.
Ah, I love that. And what a huge shift. I guess you're gonna hear exactly what I say when I tell people about my original background and what I do today, and they're like, it's two completely different worlds. And right now I'm thinking maybe we should do another podcast another day about that shift, um, how massive it is to move from the very corporate mind, corporate world into being this I don't even know if I want to call it spiritual because there's also so much truth and there's so much evidence of what sound actually does to us. So it's not like it's this woo woo delulu thing. It's like it's science as well. It's so different. But that shift is huge when we look into our identities. Okay, but that's for another day. I have some questions I really want to ask you, and you
Yes.
briefly touched it already. So in this world we're in, where we're getting more and more awareness of who we are and what we do and how our habits might not always be that healthy for us. But either way, we're still very much living in a world so addicted to doing.
Yes.
So how do you feel that sound healing can help us, I want to say dare to rest, but not just from this physical aspect, but also energetically, because sound healing works at so many levels. So take us there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we live in this world where everything is about doing. I mean, if you think about it, the whole world is kind of built upon this male dominated industries where, the way that men work is very different to how females work, especially when we have our cycles and we have, every week is basically different for us, but that's like a whole nother topic in itself.
I
But
talk about that so much, but yes.
yeah, and so like when we look at the world that we're in, especially when you're in school and as soon as you start to speak, you're basically thrown into this world. And so like your body, your entire being adjusts and becomes like programmed to be in this world where everything's about going and doing and deadlines and you know, like never resting, because resting is always seen as like you're only resting if you're really, really sick. You're only gonna rest if like you're super tired, but not as like a actually rest is so important for your well-being, your day to day, that you actually need to rest on a day-to-day basis, not just when you go on holiday or on vacation, but actually it's a vital part of our day-to-day well-being. And so yeah, when you're working in this world, that's something that is frowned upon, that's something that's looked as weak. And rest is not weak, and we need rest to recharge, to re-energize. And so with sound healing, that's exactly what we do. We're actually allowing our bodies. So sound healing works on like a multi-dimensional way. It's a multi-dimensional healing modality. So it works on the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. And when you are put into a position where you are resting fully, lying down, absorbing frequencies and vibrations, your body is going into this mode where your nervous system is like slowing down, your heart rate is slowing down, and all of that outside noise that you're constantly involved in is like kind of just slowly, slowly coming down. And during that point, it's like your mind, your body, your soul, your heart, everything is like coming down to this resting mode, which
Hmm.
is so different when you're working. But that's what you need to fully, fully like connect back to yourself, connect back to like what your inner voice is saying. Yeah.
Beautiful. And uh, some people might experience this, post yoga session, doing shavasana, doing meditation, that you can also get into that calm state. But what I really feel is different with sound healing is if I meditate, if I do, I don't want to say breath work because that's to some extent for me can feel like sound healing as well. But doing meditation, doing savasana, just relaxing, trying to let go, easing in, that leaves you in, I want to say, in a stillness state. Whereas when you do sound healing, I feel more at the end of that like my cells are humming. Like
Mm,
there's a biological shift happening in me, and with very powerful sound healing, that sensation is actually left in the body for hours and even sometimes for days after. So can you tell us a little bit about what's actually happening in the body, in our cells, when we receive sound healing this way?
yeah. So the way that I like to explain it is I think of your body as an instrument, right? You have different parts of your body and they're all vibrating at different frequencies. So your head, your heart, your womb, your arms, like everything. And so what sound healing does is it basically recalibrating your body, and it's raising your frequency, raising your vibration. So what it's doing is, because our bodies are made of 60 to 70% of water, and there's experiments that are done that when you put music or any sound with water, it starts to vibrate. So the same exact thing is happening to our bodies, especially with the water that's in our bodies. It's vibrating. And so that's the experience, and that's a sensation that we're feeling whenever we're listening to instruments and in a sound healing session. And so when you're exposed to sound healing just for even maybe like 10 minutes, it's going to have this effect where it's going to continue.
Okay, so tell me, have you ever witnessed, maybe with yourself, maybe with someone else, like a moment where sound and sound healing really cracked someone open? Not, just soothing, but that awakening. Have you had any of those wild, powerful experiences, either in yourself or with someone else?
Yeah, I've had that with myself, especially when I went to my first sound bath. I've
Hmm.
also had it when I've done sound healing on myself. So that I remember there's this one experience that was so profound for me. I was playing the crystal singing bowls. It was in my house in the UK, And I started to add my voice with the bowls. And I was like, you know what? There's something going on in my heart, but I don't know how to express it. So I used my voice in conjunction with the bowls. And I remember I started to cry. There was this huge release happening internally. And it's like I could hear through my own voice, I could hear like words coming out in my head, if this is the best way to explain it. But like there was a voice in my head talking to me through the singing that was happening. It was like translating my voice into words for me to really comprehend what was happening in my heart, and this release and like all these tears. And it's as if like my body felt so light after that. It's like something within that I was holding on to or carrying just left me.
Oh my God. That just gave me full body chills. Like I felt that with you right now. Ah,
Mm.
shit. That's beautiful. And it really speaks to the powerful transformational potency of sound because it goes beyond our logical mind. We're not trying to do something. We're not trying to still ourselves. It's just it's it's the body responding to that sound. We can't not do it. It's just it's a biological impulse. It happens. And it's so
Exactly.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that. And now you speak about sound with using your own words. So we can actually, as far as I know, we can also use our own voice through, especially humming, to really give ourselves a little bit of a sound healing. It's not the same, I know that, but you want to speak into that maybe what can we do ourselves if we don't really have access to someone as you who has these beautiful crystal bowls, or we can't really find the time to spend an hour going to a sound bath. Maybe we don't even have it readily available. Like, what can you do with your own voice in the course of a day to really help? I think mostly soothe, right? When you do the humming, I don't really see the expansion for the humming. It's more how can we soothe ourselves with our own voice during the day?
So actually, our voice is so unique, and it's actually probably even more powerful than any other instrument, like a physical instrument out there.
Okay.
Our voice is like unique to us. Like we are all given this, a different pitch, a different frequency, and what the beauty of our voice is that we can actually like tap into areas of our body. We can realign our chakras just through our own voice. And there are different types of like mantras that you can sing or hum. And what they can do is they can actually then bring vibration and bring that vibration into the body and allow that area, that chakra to heal and to balance and to restore. And with humming, it's so simple. Like you can do it anywhere. Like you can be outside, you can be at home, you can be working and humming at the same time, and it does the same thing. And I think the most important thing that I believe is that your intention is what matters. Like you can, as long as you set the intention of what you want it to do, that's what's going to happen. And with your voice, you can do it anywhere.
Okay, so give us two different examples of humming. One maybe in the lower part of the body, one of the lower chakras, and one of the higher ones. Do you want to do that?
I'm trying to think. I don't really focus too much on that, so
Okay.
but so I don't really have anything specific, but just
Okay.
general humming is always a good way. And then there are specific ones that I can even kind of link it to the show notes later if you want so that
Oh
someone can
yeah, we
kind of
could do that.
hear
That's a
that.
great
Yeah.
idea. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you recommend people who are looking either for a way of soothing themselves or really using sounds to raise the frequency? What would be the best ways for them to go about this? How much sound do you need? Give us a little bit of intel on that.
I think there's not really a specific amount of how much sound you need. I think it's more about like giving yourself that space to receive. So, sometimes you can listen to like a sound healing session or crystal bowls or whatever instrument that's really going to help you raise your vibration for just a couple minutes. And sometimes you might need that full hour because your body needs it. So I think when you listen to your body will tell you what you need. And based off of that, that's what you should really do.
Mm, I love that answer. I always say in that rest that we have this body first approach. Use your
Yeah.
body, listen to your body. It's going to tell you everything that you need. Okay, so maybe final question. What does it really mean to you to become this, you said it yourself, instrument? What does it mean to you to become this stable instrument, one that can hold resonance, high frequency, rest and radiance, no matter the chaos around us? What does that really mean to you?
So that means like being in a position where no matter what is happening on the outside, you are fine. So no matter what chaos is happening, what issues you may have at work or in your personal life or whatever it may be, whatever the world is throwing at you, if you can remain still, if you can remain at this state where you're just focused on what's happening internally, that's going to then project outward. So that's what I always believe in. Like everything starts from within. So when you can focus and shift and make sure that you are at this deep rest, that you are in the stillness, that you do feel that you're connected to who you are, your outside is going to manifest that anyway. And it's going to bring in that clarity. It's going to bring in that, that peace that you need.
Mm. And that's where the sound healing comes in. When we do that on a regular basis, it's easier to find back and be that calm in the midst of the storm, right?
Exactly. And exactly. And like what I explained before was like when I was working in corporate, it was so stressful. I had so much going on, so many deadlines, so many projects. But when I use sound healing regularly, it's like I was able to cope with what was happening at work. I was able to manage my expectations. I was able to give myself that space and the rest without actually feeling bad. Because that's one of the things I had to learn, especially working in corporate, that if I take a break, if I go for a walk, if I want to spend time in nature, if I want to, spend a few minutes, doing a sound healing session, that it is fine. Actually, it's going to help with my productivity. And
Mhm.
take out that space, we take out that time, actually the more we can actually do more. And that's the interesting thing. It's like a paradox. Like when you take the rest, you think actually you're wasting time. But no, when you take the rest, you take the time out for yourself, you come into that stillness, you come into that, just that inner connection. And then you go back into the world. You're going to have more time. You're going to have more space. You're going to have like more, your brain is going to be more alert. Your mind is going to be more, it's going to be fresh. Your body is going to be fresh. And you can actually do so much more after resting.
Yeah. And I love how you say that is the paradox. And that's exactly why my business is called Dare to Rest, because
Yeah.
it's not the obvious choice. But also for me, rest is not only, lying down, receiving, taking breaks. I really say that rest in my world is this. It's actually an abbreviation, or I don't even remember what the English word for that is, but R stands for something, E stands for something, and S and T. So for me, it's like rest is this revolutionary embodiment of sovereign transcendence. Like it's me choosing me for me, and I can find rest in my body, I can find rest in my soul, and I can find rest in the fact that I'm human and I want more. So rest isn't just the lying down, laying back. It's multifaceted. We can work with rest on so many levels. It's a profound, beautiful word, and I really want to expand the understanding of what it is, because it's so much more. It's not leaning out, it's leaning into what we need and what we're called to do and to be.
Definitely.
Okay, so time is running and I could go on, but I also really want to take the time and ask you if you want to do like a quick little sound something for us, just to show off and to give us a beautiful experience. So, are you
Yeah, I
up
would
for
love
it?
to do that. Yeah, let me just grab my bowl here and I'm just gonna switch this on so you can hear the sound.
That's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Today I
So,
pulled out this bowl is a sacral chakra bowl that I'm gonna be playing. So it's connected to your sacral chakra. And yeah, I'm just gonna guide you on a little meditation and you can just close your eyes and take a deep breath in and exhale. And just allow the sound just to enter into you in whatever way you need it right now. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and hopefully just
Mhm.
that, very short moment of hearing a sound allowed you just to come into like a little bit of stillness and, it's important just to take that moment out in your day to day, just whether it's just, for a minute or a couple minutes, or if you can for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it may be. But sometimes just a moment is all you need.
I'm so glad we got to do that and people got to briefly just experience what that felt like, because it's instant. So if anyone hasn't tried it before, maybe now they did. I want to ask you this final question.
Absolutely.
If we have some listeners out there who feels like, not sure about what do I do? Can I do it wrong? Like, do you have any advice for people who are going to experience this for the first time?
The best advice I could give for, experiencing a sound bath or sound healing session is just to go with an open mind and open heart, because every sound bath or, healing session you're going to go to is going to be so different. Like you can come to my sound baths and you can come every week and you're going to experience something completely different. It's all because you're going through something completely different in that moment. And sound meets you where you're at. So if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling upset, or if you're feeling sad, whatever it may be, the sounds that are going to be played are going to impact you in a different way. They're going to impact different areas of your body. They're going to impact your chakras in a different way. And so it's always going to be a different experience. So I would say go with an open mind, open heart, and just trust that it's going to do what it needs to do and you don't actually have to do anything. And that's the beauty of it, where we're so used to in our day-to-days doing things. But with sound, it comes to you. You don't have to do anything at all.
Yeah, you said a magical sentence, and I think that's what we're going to call this episode. You said, sound meets you where you're at.
It
That
does.
is beautiful. And I want to end us off on that note because yeah, that feels so true and so beautiful. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, darling, for being here. It was a true pleasure. It's always you have this beautiful radiant energy, and I'm sure that everyone can feel it by hearing your voice. So I'm gonna link a lot of information about you in the show notes so people can find you. And just thank you so much for being here.
Aw, thank you so much for, inviting me onto your podcast. It was an absolute pleasure being here. And yeah, thank you so much.
You are welcome. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful conversation and maybe first go ever for a mini sound healing. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.